Hello everybody and welcome back to another New World video. I am going to be talking about the fact that the entire Endgame, everything that we really know about New World is kind of changing and it's kind of crazy. I woke up this morning and I was reading all about this news that had been going on, and I have mixed feelings about it. Some negative, some positive, but we're here to talk about it anyway. I'm going to jump over to the... I'm just going to jump over to the forum page here so we can have an old look at that. December Endgame update by Zin Ramu. Based on the feedback on the high watermark system and our desire to have a compelling and diverse endgame, we are making some major updates in the December 1.2 patch. Our goal for the endgame is to provide a variety of activities that all provide compelling rewards and interesting challenges in this article. I'll discuss 3 big changes we'll be making: improving our endgame gear progression, increasing rewards for some endgame activities, and tuning difficulty of endgame content. Expertise and Gypsum. Honestly, the meat and potatoes of this December patch, because there's a lot of like fluff, and I call it fluff, but I mean just like, there's a lot of like, this mob have maybe been added, and oh, this is snowy now, and oh, there's some quests and whatever, but a lot of it is sort of like, it's like real temporary stuff. This is like pretty game defining stuff, so we're definitely going to be focusing on that just for the minute anyway. So Expertise and Gypsum system. Since New World's launch, we've heard the feedback from our community that the high watermark system was not communicated effectively. Not communicated effectively. You didn't communicate it really at all. Like, when people were getting to 60, there was a big question mark over like what was giving higher gear, and if gear score was like something that was affecting, you have to wear a higher gear score in order to get a drop of a higher gear score. That was all talked about, and people didn't know, right? And it was your literal end game system, and people didn't know. So that's not no communication. That's not communicating at all. So let's move from there. Promotes a single monotonous activity, had too much randomness, and was a bit too grindy. So we are completely revamping the system to address these concerns. This new and improved high watermark system is called Expertise. I'm going to also try and stay as middle ground as possible, because even though I'm mixed and I have my things to say on it, and it is what it is. It's whatever. But I'm going to try. The reason I'm saying it is because I'm going to share you a comment after the thread that is sort of the reply in the forums from all the players and sort of the consensus of this and how everyone's taking it. So, and people get very emotional on these sort of things, don't they? It's crazy. It's just so many people are so invested in this game, myself included. I feel very invested myself. That they only want the best. So I'm definitely not going to let my emotions run too high at all at any point. The new and improved high watermark system is called Expertise. In the December update, Expertise will govern the highest drops you can get per slot, much like high watermark did, because it is the same thing. But starting in early 2022, it will also govern the effectiveness of your gear. This means if your Warhammer and Expertise is 520, and you equipped a 550 gear score hammer, the weapon's effective gear score will be reduced to 520. While we understand that some players this may result in a temporary reduction in power, we believe in the long run this will result in a more rewarding progression loop that can't be bypassed by buying gear off of the trading post. So the first thing I was a little bit confused about was, me personally, I have about 450 hours in this game, give or take. A little bit less, a little bit more. And I got to 60, and I didn't like what I was greeted with, but I absolutely loved this game, right? I love the game, but I did not like the fact that I was greeted with the reality that I have to find groups and run these elite runs every single day and wait 24 hours and then do it again, right? I love PvP, and Outpost Rush has been great fun for me. But, you know, you do Outpost Rush so many times, and you want to, like, you want a different game mode or something, right? You want something, a little bit of something else. And so what they're saying, and so my point is, because I, personally, haven't, my watermark is probably, like, maybe 540, although I couldn't tell you for certain, but it's about 540 on my gear-ish, right? Some is a lot lower, because you only loot them every now and then, and some are a lot higher, maybe a little bit higher. But it's around 530, 540, my gear score. But everything I've got, every piece of gear I've got on here is either crafted or is bought off the auction house, right? It's bought off the auction house with gold I've made doing my Arcana. I talked about it in my last video. I've been really, really trying to get my Arcana up to 200, right? I'm on a low pop server, so it's been a real big old struggle for me. But I'm at 191 now. 9 more levels to go. Feeling very optimistic about it. Well, it kind of shits on me, doesn't it? Because it's like, well, now all of this gear I've got is basically completely worthless, right? Unless my high watermark or expertise is up now. My expertise, you know, if it's not all 600 by the time 2022 comes around and the gear comes in, you know, it all goes down, and that sucks. And even if I have spent tens of thousands of gold, which I have, leveling up my Arcana, grinding hours and hours and hours, right, to try and get the Arcana to 200, if I make a legendary piece of gear and my fire staffs aren't at 600 gear score, it's not going to be a 600 gear score staff. All the crafting stuff is coming down too. So it's really hitting the crafting, which I feel personally is a bit of a problem. I'm not sure, honestly, how to get around it, but it's a problem that these endgame crafting systems will basically become null and void. Not null and void, but, you know, basically null and void, right? I mean, it's crazy to think that you could spend 15,000 gold or whatever on getting the materials to make, like, the legendary Arcana stuff, and then they would just turn down your gear score. That seems so aggressive, right? And it's difficult because I'm coming from a standpoint where I'm like, I've been playing it when it came out, right? I've been putting a lot of time into it. And so, yeah, it upsets me to think that, you know, I was really trying to, you know, get these end game items here, and I really wanted to create, like, the enchanted flame staff, right? I wanted to do that. But now I know that that's kind of pointless, and now I don't think I want to do that. I'll still get my Arcana to 200, but I don't know if I want to craft any of this shit anymore, because it doesn't really seem like there's a point right now. So that's really lame, and that really, really sucks. But you also, and everyone, you know, again, like myself, who emotions are running high and things like that, we have to remember that Amazon are trying, let me get that word out of my mouth, AGS Studios, right? AGS Studios are trying to make this game have a better end game, a better future. And I see that. I see the vision of that. But what this is not quite that. I feel like there's still something off here. I feel like it's all of these things that we'll talk about are so good, but yeah, it just seems super aggressive. So let's go back over to the forums. While we understand some players result in temporary power reduction, buying gear off the, right, so we can't buy gear off the trading post. A major improvement provided by expertise is that players' expertise per slot is displayed on the inventory screen. Bang! We can see it here. We're now going to have a little marker, little purple marker, that will tell you what your old gear score is for your weapons. Don't know how I feel about this at all. Obviously, I like the fact that we can see the expertise. I do like that. And it's nice. I wish I could see the high watermark like that. I wish that was there in the beginning. But What the reason I'm saying I don't like this is because I'm looking at that legendary chest and I'm like, that's level 520. That seems so fucking crazy. My brain's all messed up, guys. It's all messed up. The second major improvement we've made to adding is adding a way for players to control their gear progression to achieve this. We introduced Gypsum. So this is the new currency coming in. Gypsum is a new resource that is found by doing a special variety of activities. Gypsum can be crafted into gypsum orbs, which can be turned into special caches, or caches, however you want to say it, called gypsum casts. Gypsum casts are gear type specific, and when opened, guarantee an expertise bump for that type of gear, as well as an item of that type. So if you really want to increase your bow expertise, you can craft a gypsum bow cast. Players can earn gypsum by doing 7 different endgame activities. You get the obsidian gypsum from doing the 60 plus open world named bosses. The sapphire gypsum from defeating the final boss in Lazarus Instrumentality. Ruby gypsum from the outpost rush caches. Emerald gypsum from the trade skill aptitude reward containers. Citrine gypsum from arena caches. Amethyst gypsum found in breach caches. Topaz gypsum found on hostile creatures level 55 plus, but only after consuming a special attunement potion, which can be crafted at a tier 5 camp. We believe that providing different ways to collect gypsum will allow players to play a variety of content while always finding at least a few activities they love to progress their gear score. Engaging in these activities for 30 to 60 minutes a day will earn a player enough gypsum of that type to craft a gypsum orb, except for Topaz, since the attunement potion can only be crafted once a week. After players have earned sufficient gypsum for the orb, they won't earn any more for 23 hours. Gypsum orbs can then be crafted into gypsum casts to cast any weapon, armor, trinket, whatever, right? It'll turn into anything you want it to turn into. And again, it is a guaranteed expertise bump as well. So, bang. That really is the meat and potatoes. I'm going to go off of this now because this video, I want to talk more about that, right? And now the response of that, right? And what everybody has been saying, what the general consensus is of it all. And just to throw, I don't want to make this video too long, no longer than 15 minutes, I promise. But my 2 cents on it is, I like the idea of what they're doing, right? I like this idea because what you're doing is what happened was New World came out and everybody was funneled into this very tight space of what they can do to improve themselves, right? The character always plays on, gets stronger, better gear, fights the hardest bosses, etc., etc. But you were all funneled to doing elite chest runs, zerging it with a bunch of people or all your guildies or whatever, or doing outpost rush, basically. And dungeons are basically useless unless your watermark is up high anyway. And now, I like the fact that now what they're doing is they are breaching out. They're saying, hey, we've got all these other great things in the game. We want you to do all of them and have fun doing all of them. And you will be rewarded equally for them all. Equally for them all. Yes, they're saying, yes, come on, we want you to do all these other types of activities in the game, which is really good, really great, and that is a healthy, good idea. What doesn't feel like a good idea, I won't say what isn't a good idea, because I'm not a game developer, and at the end of the day, I don't know, right? I do not know what this game needs, really, in order for it to succeed properly and have a healthy player base and healthy communication between the developer and the gamer, right? That's, at the end of the day, that's what we're all aiming for. I don't know what the game needs, but I will say that it does feel like a bit of a gut punch to the fact that now I feel like my leveling of my Arcana to 200 doesn't mean anything. The tens of thousands of gold I've saved, right, to spend on getting gear and crafting my own or having guildies craft for me or whatever, none of that matters, right? Because I chose the fact that I didn't want to open any more chests because it was getting really boring. It's boring. It's so boring having to run chest to chest every single day, and that's the thing you're doing. It is dull and it sucks and it does need to change. I agree, right? I agree with all of that, but it is a bit of a crazy, it just seems like a crazy fast change. So let's read the reply. Grinding Watermark was already a boring nightmare, so who in their right mind thought, let's add some more layers of bullshit to wade through? Gypsum, ruining people's purchased higher gear score items, question mark. You have consistently screwed over players who did not know life the game in the first few weeks. I have assumed as punishment for some middle manager seeing a streamer at 200 in all skills. Crafting levels, nerfed. Farming through elite areas, nerfed. Least we also forget that on top of the artificially inflating the grind, which is exactly what this is, don't lie, you timegate everything. Tuning orbs, useless timegate. Gypsum, timegate. Azos travel, timegate. No mounts, useless timegate. Achievement potion, useless timegate. I hope the terrible middle manager who thought up this system reads this, and you are doing everything possible to drive players. You're doing everything possible to drive players away. But let's be honest, that's probably the plan, so they can shut the servers down now that they have the money. Also, this further cements the high player to poverty, as now there is no reason for anyone to buy their weapon drops. I mean, on my server, we were listing things for in the 580s, 90s for 100 gold. Now people won't even buy that. New World Mugsy comes back and says, I understand that emotions can run high, but please express your feedback and concerns in a constructive way. And obviously everybody is like, oh my God, and absolutely going crazy and talking about how frustrated these people are and how the people are being hostile towards us. Hating our players in the original thread. Look, I mean, okay. The team is making the decisions they feel are best for the game and our players. Listen. No matter what, right, I think if there's anything... So you can see the general consensus, right, of players aren't exactly the happiest, cheeriest. We have to all do this, right? We're all adults here. We're all really enjoying New World, and we always all need to be constructive and try to, you know, give the feedback in the best possible way that we can. Of course, that doesn't mean that, like, you know, it's not that this... I think some parts of this post are a little bit too much, right? I don't think AGS hates the player base. I don't think they want to throw the game in. I don't think that it's all some sort of conspiracy to close the game and close the servers and they've got the money now. I don't think fucking any of that. I think they've been working really hard. I think they bit off a little bit more than that they could chew and they're getting bit in the ass for it, right? But does that mean, you know, that they don't deserve the chance to do it, right? That's what we've got to be asking ourselves. At the end of the day, AGS has decided to change its entire endgame because people weren't happy with the endgame. Time to make a radical change, time to do something different, time to make sure that our player base is happy. People don't like change, right? People getting used to everything that New World was and now has to get used to a different thing yet again. Let me know, guys, what your whole thoughts are on this situation in the comments below. I would love to know everybody's opinion on whether or not this is a good idea, a bad idea, whether or not you think that they are doing the right thing and they're trying to make the best moves possible for the, you know, for obvious reasons, or if they are really just dicking over the player base yet again with no understanding of what needs to happen in order to make this a healthy and, you know, a game that makes you feel like you've used your time well, right? A game that gives you good gratification, right? Not an endless mega grind fest. Although, you know, it is an MMO and grinds happen, right? There's a way you can go about it, right? That you can give people that diversity of content. Let me know what you think, guys. Bit of a long one today. I'm so sorry about that, but thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next New World video. Peace.